Hi Taurus, welcome. This is Taurus Tarot, and I am Joy, your tour guide. And we are getting a read for what the energy is going to be for Taurus for the month of June. Something that I was really picking up on was this idea of you are not alone. You know, while many of us are like, coming out of isolation, we're not, we're kind of, in America anyway, being allowed to, kind of get back into the swing of things, and to, the focus is kind of like on opening the economy again, restarting the economy, and, businesses are starting to open up a little bit more, and so, while the general feeling of isolation is less, there really is, it still does exist, this feeling of isolation, this feeling of what now, sort of, things aren't going to be the same as they were before. People are at different spaces with their fear and where they are with the COVID, and how willing they are to start re-engaging with people and being near people. People are really in different places with their levels of fear, and it is a little bit difficult to navigate, because some people are not concerned at all, and they don't feel the need to wear masks or practice social distancing, whereas other people are still very nervous about it, right? And it depends on where they're coming from, what their what underlying health conditions they may have, or just their framework, their thoughts, and where they are with all of that, and that there's just a lot of factors playing into where people really are with how they're gonna start engaging again with other people and community and all of that. So the big thing, sorry, that was a long intro, but I'm still shuffling the cards and they're still coming out. The big thing though is you're not alone. That's just kind of what I really kept hearing pretty clearly earlier, was you're not alone. Wherever you are, whatever space you're in at the moment or for the month of June, you're not alone. It's whatever you're feeling, members of the collective are also feeling it, okay? So don't feel like you're alone. If you are someone who is struggling with the job loss, or the heaviness of all of that, know that you're not alone. There are others that are experiencing the same thing, and that can be sources of support for you, and you may possibly need to reach out to them. Reach out to your family members, reach out to friends, reach out to others who may be experiencing the same thing. I'm sure you could find some kind of support groups or something, and try and find ways to make those connections, to find others who may be struggling with the same thing as you, and who there's such a feeling of comfort and connection in knowing that you're not going through it by yourself, knowing that that there's someone else that is experiencing the same thing and struggling with the same things that you are, and there's such a wealth of knowledge, that a knowing that you can tap into, that will really help you to move through this, and please know that it is something that that you are going to move through, right? Life happens like this, there's these you know, these ups and downs that inevitably are part of life, right? And you know, how big those peaks and valleys are for you is really dependent on where you are in your own personal journey. And you know, the more that you have kind of done a lot of introspection, the more you're able to kind of take a step back and be the observer of life unfolding, of the flow, then the more level those peaks and valleys become. You know, they're not so extreme when you're able to kind of take a step back from it all, be the observer of it, be able to recognize that there is a pattern, that you do move through the highs and lows, being able to recognize when you are in a high or a low, and you know, that kind of just all plays in, but that does come through, like, you know, your ability to be aware of it, your ability to be introspective and look within, and understand that your response to whatever is happening around you really is something that is within, right? And in fact, even how you are actually seeing everything that is happening around you is also primarily how you are, where you are within. Okay, so and not to simplify it, but just to give you a little bit more information, you know, if you're someone who's able to really you know, keep a positive outlook on things, really able to see the beauty in things, you know, you can walk out on a rainy day and see a rainbow and put your focus on the beauty of that rainbow rather than the gloominess of the rain and clouds. If you're that kind of person, then that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the brighter sides, the silver linings. But if you're someone who you know, is going to be focused on the gloom of the day, you know, the darkness of the day, you know, the uncomfortableness of the weather, or all of that stuff, then that is what you see. Okay, and I you know, I cannot stress enough how much of what we see is a reflection of what is happening within us. Okay. But so anyway, let's get into the reading. So the first card that we had fall out is the Devil. Yeah, and that's kind of really what I've been feeling like. These you know, the Devil really represents low vibrational feelings for me, whether it be like you know, sadness or self-pity or envy or that kind of stuff. But I'm really feeling that these low vibrational feelings are these feelings of being isolated, being alone, being unsupported, and you know, just completely alone in your feelings of worry and fear, and all of that. And yes, it's natural. It's normal to have these feelings of worry and of fear. But it's how you move through them. Yeah, it's how you move through them. And you know, this feels big. This feels big for you right now. This feels like a very like maybe you're not in the best space right now, right? You are worried. You are feeling isolated. You are afraid of what the future holds for you. But this here is really saying that, you know, there is a brighter future for you. And actually, I have to show you all of these cards together because they're very much connected. Okay, so we have the Seven of Pentacles, the Sun, and the Ace of Swords. Really, really positive, good stuff, good cards. And I always look at the way that they fall too. And here we have the Sun in the middle, and it is the Seven of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords that is surrounding the Sun. And I really feel like the Sun is very much illuminating these two things beside them, the Seven of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. Yeah, that the sun is in the middle. So that's really, to me, like the core of this energy. The sun is the core of this energy. But outside of the sun, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. And so for me, I'm really feeling that this Seven of Pentacles is really a message to you that, like, hey, don't worry so much about it, okay? Like, acknowledge those feelings, acknowledge those fears, and understand that that your time to reap rewards is coming. The harvest for you is coming. Don't get stuck in these lower vibrational feelings of fear, okay? Don't get stuck here. Acknowledge them. Absolutely acknowledge them. They're real. We all go through them. I go through them myself. I definitely have moments where I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What is my next move? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna overcome this? This is really scary. But I acknowledge them. They are like the shadow, right? They're the shadow side. They are us, whether we like it or not. And we cannot bury them or dismiss them or try to send them away. We have to transmute them. We have to take these feelings and acknowledge them, understand them, and then incorporate, transmute them into, like, okay, yes, I acknowledge that I am fearful about this, but okay, now what can I do to move beyond the fear of it? What can I do? How can I take this fear and turn it into not necessarily something positive, but how can I take this fear and use it to move me not in the direction of more fear, but in the direction of taking that fear and turning it into something positive for myself. Yeah. And this is saying that you absolutely can. You absolutely can. And when you do, the rewards are there for you to be to take, to harvest. But I'm also feeling like there is a message here that they're not just going to fall in your lap, right? The fruits of the harvest are not just going to fall in your lap and there's nothing for you to do. There is some work involved. This lady here, she has to climb up that ladder up into the tree and physically pick the ripe fruit, pick the pentacles that are waiting for her, pick the very grounded and real fruits of labor that are available to her. But keyword being labor, there's some work involved with it, okay? It's not going to just automatically fall into your lap. There is some work involved, and this could be actual physical work that you have to do in order to move yourself out of this space. Maybe it really is about going out and perhaps doing some exercise and feeling good within your body in order to be able to find yourself in a space of in a mental and emotional space of feeling good, right? Sometimes it has to be triggered from the body. I'm a Taurus. I'm a very grounded person. I know that sometimes when I'm not in the right emotional or mental space, I gotta go and I gotta move my body. I gotta get out there in nature. I gotta go for a run. I gotta get my blood flowing and do some actual physical body work. Do some stretching or something like that in order to feel like I can come from a clearer mental and emotional space. And so that's what this card is really communicating to you, okay? But there is definitely mental work involved with that as well, okay? It may start off as physical, but then it's definitely going to be mental and emotional as well, because that is part of the entire being, right? We sometimes think of this separateness, body, mind, soul, but that is all one. Really, there is a connectedness of all of it, through all of it, okay? There is no separateness in that. And so when we do the body work, the mental emotional work also has to come along. When we do the mental emotional work, the body work also has to be part of it as well, okay? Okay, great. And they really interact with each other. They coexist. They mingle. They whatever, right? There's no separateness in it. Okay. And then we have the Ace of Swords here, and I'm feeling like this work that you're going to be doing to you know, reap your harvest is going to bring you a lot of clarity. Yeah, and it is really it's going to bring you a lot of clarity, because there's going to be a lot of work you're doing that is actually cleaning out the mental clutter. Okay, and what I mean when I say cleaning out the mental clutter is really examining your thoughts and really asking yourself, like, ooh, how does this thought serve me? Like, you know, if I look in the mirror every day and I said, oh my God, you're so fat and disgusting, like, how does that thought really actually serve me, right? Except to make me feel worse about myself, or to make me feel bad about my body, or to make me feel like, you know, I'm somehow less than because of that, right? Or, you know, am I gonna look in the mirror and I'm gonna say to myself, like, you're beautiful, you know, you're beautiful, your body is beautiful, you know, I love all parts of my body. I love all that I am. I acknowledge that there are things that I would like to change, that I would like to work on. But, you know, regardless, I am a beautiful being, and I am perfect in every way just by being, you know. So that's kind of this, right? So there's really this work that has to be done of eliminating that mental clutter that just does not, like, serve you well, right? And it's the same, the clutter of thoughts in your mind is really the same as, like, clutter in your home. It just serves to, like, it's like these things that you have to step around, you know, like you have a bunch of junk on your floor and you can't clearly, you know, you don't have a clear path. You have to, like, you know, move around them, and they're there, and they're like, you can see them, and they're nagging at you, and it's like, you know, it doesn't create a clear, comfortable space for you in your home. Same thing in your mind. If you have these thoughts in your mind that really don't serve you any purpose, that really just serve to kind of bog you down, then it's time to get rid of those things. Yeah, it's time to, like, look at them and ask yourself if they're benefiting you, and if they're not, then maybe you need to change your thinking. Yeah, maybe you need to come up with a thought that is much better for you. And so again, you know, these two cards really have the sun as the central energy, okay? And the sun, we know, is the source of all life here, right? In our human experience, the sun is the source of all life, and it is beautiful, and it is happy, and it is good, and it is pure. It's pure. There's no judgment in it. There's no fear in it. There is and there isn't, right? It's all of that and none of that at the same time. It's just this pure energy of which is life, and of which we are, okay? We are this energy of the sun, and it is just wonderful, okay? And that is what is really in store for you. But there is a process that you are going to have to go through to release these lower vibrational feelings, but it's definitely going to be a good thing for you, okay? Not just for this month, but for eternity to come. If that's a process that you find yourself going through a lot, that is a process that is going to really bring you to a better place. Okay, Taurus, so that is the message. I am available for private readings if you would like. You can contact me through my email, taurustours@gmail.com. Let's see what else. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, then please subscribe. All right, have a beautiful day. I love you. Aloha and Namaste.